Hey guys, Paragon here. Welcome back to what's now become the epic saga of the Sorceress Lash lightning build for Diablo 4's electrifying Season of Blood. Since our last deep dive into the mystical arts of the Sorceress, I've pushed the boundaries of what we thought was possible and catapulted this build into the stratosphere. Even only in the 80s, and even without the ultimate in-game gear, I'm obliterating nightmare dungeons up to 50 levels above me, leaving nothing but the echo of thunder in my wake. From the desolate sands confronting Duriel to the shadowed corridors of the most forsaken dungeons, no challenge is too great, no boss too mighty. Changes in our gearing, fine-tuning of vampiric powers, and some strategic shifts on the Paragon boards have turned us into a force of nature. This build has the unrelenting pace and unparalleled strength. We're not merely navigating dungeons, we're blitzing through them, harnessing a combination of formidable tactics that turn each attack into an event and every incantation into a decisive power play. Strap in, guys, because I'm about to guide you through a realm where you are the tempest and the legions of darkness are mere leaves in the storm. Let's dive into this vortex of power and see just how we're making the impossible look easy. First off, let's dive into the small change to Vampiric Powers, and then we will discuss some gearing tweaks and finally the Paragon board changes. All right, guys, so I just wanted to touch on Vampiric Powers first. I only made one change here, but it's a pretty significant change, especially as you start to push into higher content and do uber bosses, and that was I dropped Hemomancy for Undying. Hemomancy is a very good skill, and it does do a lot of work and a lot of damage, but we have so much damage on this build that we just absolutely don't need any more damage, and I wanted to have a little bit more survivability, especially when you start to push into some harder content. So this is Undying. Casting skills heals you for 2.3% of your life. This is level 2. I believe this goes up to like 3% at level 3. This is double below 50% life. So this goes off whenever you cast any skill, including like Arc Lash. And so, as you spam your abilities in Arc Lash, which is nonstop, and we have a lot of attack speed, it's going to constantly be healing us. And this just does an insane amount of healing. So this is really good. Everything else is identical. Nothing else was changed. We're still using Ravenous for the huge increase to attack speed. We're still using Moonrise so we can get the attack speed and basic skill damage increase. We're using Hectic for the cooldown reduction. And we're running Anticipation for the ultimate skills cooldown reduction. So that's pretty much it for Vampiric Powers. Let's talk a little bit about gearing changes. All right, guys, for gear, I just want to touch on this really quickly, and then I will say that I have a build guide link in the description below, so just take a look at that. It will include an updated build guide for the gear, Vampiric Powers, and a Paragon board that I recommend for in-game min-max. And then I'll show you what I'm currently using, which is what I would consider a beginner-friendly gearing guide. And so the only unique I'm currently wearing right now is Isu's Heirloom, which gives us a lot of movement speed, critical strike damage, and it gives us critical strike chance increased based on your movement speed. So currently running, I believe, not counting when you do dodge roll, we have quite a bit of movement speed, which is down here, I believe, 142%. And then whenever we dodge roll, that goes to the 200% cap. Okay. So whenever you dodge roll, this is just going to give us a lot of crit chance, right? So you're looking at a huge increase in crit. Eventually you want to farm Flicker Step Boots, which I will put on the screen here. And these can be target farmed, I believe, from Duriel, which you're going to want to farm because Duriel is one that drops all the Uber unique. So basically the Flicker Step Boots is going to be best in slot because it allows you to evade through enemies and it'll reset your cooldown on your Unstable Currents here. So Unstable Currents is currently on cooldown about 10 seconds for me, depending on how many procs I get to reduce my cooldown. Now, I've got it as a 53.64 because I don't have a lot of the best cooldown on my gear. I'm still using Sacred Amulets, but you can definitely get a lot better cooldown reduction in some other places. And it's like offhand here, which I don't believe I have cooldown reduction at all. Really want to get like cooldown reduction here and here and here, and you can get this down to like 43 seconds, and that will make it a lot nicer when you're first starting out. And once you get the Flicker Step Boots, it's not going to really matter because you can just evade through enemies and it'll reset that cooldown. And whenever Unstable Currents is up, you're pretty much unkillable. It's just absolutely annihilate stuff. And so the rest of this is pretty much starter gear, okay? But what I would recommend, which is going to be in the build guide planner, is go ahead and grab the chest piece, Ever Living Tunic, and I would put that on the legs and just drop Might. Once we switch Ever Living out to the legs, this chest piece will be dropped for a Raiment of the Infinite, which will allow us to basically dash in and pull enemies in and group them up in large explosions. And so once you get that and the flicker step boots, you're pretty much done with your gear. Again, that is in the build description below. If you guys come up with any more cool combos or synergies, let me know. I'm still experimenting. I have tried the new helm out, which groups enemies up, and it is nice, and that is a possibility to run that. But I just felt like right now I wanted to keep a little extra defensive skills, and I wanted to keep rapid up. And so I know some people will put obedience cycle on amulet and drop rapid, but to me, it felt really good to have rapid, as well as like conceited, as well as like storm swell, which just gives you a lot of extra damage multipliers. So for pure damage, this is a really good way to go. If you want a little more defense, you can drop this out, put it on amulet, and possibly pick up the unique helm, which is pretty awesome. But let's go over the Paragon board real quick. All right, guys. So this is what I'm currently running, and I'm just going to show you how I've got it set up. Because a lot of people are asking me. I would recommend running this until like around the 85-ish, maybe 90, and then just go ahead and switch it out for more min-max version that I have linked in the build guide description, because the more min-max version is going to let you get a little bit further. It's going to allow you to get more unique powers and more glyphs active, which is probably going to give you a little bit of extra power. Although early on, taking all these nodes is going to definitely give you a lot of extra resistance, a lot of extra life, and quite a bit of power as well. So this is a good way to kind of min-max your early game. And these three boards are actually some of the best boards to start with. So, you know, come out here and just grab all these nodes here. We're going to pick up territorial, which gives you 15% damage reduction against close. This is just an extra defensive skill. And then I come up here and I grab all these nodes for extra damage to elites. Then I come up here and grab this Ceaseless Conduit, which is really, really good for our build. And then down here just to get some extra damage reduction. And then we're going to go up here and get some extra damage for lightning, as well as, you know, more lightning damage. And then we're going to pick up the glyph socket here for Adept. Adept is really nice because it gives our mastery skills 20% increased area effect. So that's going to be our ball lightning, which is really, really nice. So when it procs, it just has a larger area effect. It's going to hit more enemies, and it really puts a lot of work in. And then we're just going to grab all these extra damage to mastery and lightning skills and extra resistance, which is really, really nice. We're going to come over here and we're going to grab this skill next is Enchantment Master, which makes your enchantments 20% stronger. Again, we're using Fireball and Ball Lightning, which is really our key for how much damage we do. So whenever we kill something, obviously the Fireball is going to explode. Having the 20% increased damage on those two skills is huge. So grab this right away when you come to this board, and then you know, make your beeline here. Grab all of these juicy nodes here for extra damage resistance, and then come over here and grab these for extra damage to elites and extra non-physical damage, which is, you know, all of our damage. So this is a lot of damage. This is a lot of damage resistance. And then we're going to make our way from here over to this glyph, and then we're going to grab this last glyph. Now from here, we're going to pick up all these extra nodes, which is extra damage. We're going to grab this resistance and intelligence here, and then depending on what you decide to take, I would recommend taking probably, destruction. Let's take a look at this. Destruction. So this is really good because this gives you critical strikes, increase all damage the enemy takes from you by 2% for 10 seconds up to 12%. So this is 12% more damage. This is actually a really, really good skill. And then the other really, really good one is Reinforced. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Reinforced is actually a very, very good skill because it gives you gain 15% damage reduction while you have an active barrier, which is almost 100% of the time. So this is just more damage reduction. So if you feel like you need a little extra survivability, take Reinforced. If you want just a little bit extra damage, take Destruction. Again, I would only do this until like 85 to 88 maybe, and then go ahead and switch into the Paragon board in the tree, which is going to be very similar, but it's going to be it's going to have less of these nodes taken here, and it's going to be more streamlined. It's basically going to be glyphs and legendaries with a few of these nodes along the way. But starting out, this three board here is very compact. It's got a lot of good nodes, and it's going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. So you don't have to worry about like stringing it out too far, and it allows you to basically, instead of making really, really long travel paths here to get to the next node and not getting anything but stats, what we're doing is we're actually grabbing all the good nodes, and we're not traveling very far. And then as we get all these good nodes in here, eventually we can just respec, and then we'll have enough nodes to drop all these, and then we'll be able to travel further, which will allow us to grab more glyphs and more legendaries, which then kind of counterbalances the ability to get more power creep into our build. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the board. The Paragon is in the build guide below on diablobuilds.com. So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. That's pretty much the changes. I know with this build, I've been able to easily push like just insane amount of content, and it's extremely powerful. So I hope you guys enjoy it. As our journey through the electrified chaos draws to a close, I'm thrilled to have had you all alongside me, channeling the storm that reshapes the very foundations of Diablo 4. But remember, this isn't just about individual prowess, it's about the community we build here, the strategies we share, and the triumphs we achieve together. Hitting that next subscriber milestone is more than a number. It's a thunderclap announcing the arrival of an engaged, passionate community ready to take on any challenge. If you're not already part of this incredible journey, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. There's a whole universe of content, and together we're going to explore every lightning struck corner. Thank you for standing in the eye of the storm with me. For every comment, like, and share, your engagement supercharges this channel, pushing us to new heights, ensuring that we don't just game, we electrify. Until next time, keep those amps high and let that thunder roll.